Hi, Lou here, hoping you are doing as well as could be expected in this coronavirus world as I am. And my topic for today is how you provide the opponent in a co-op game. Now, the obvious thing is if you have a computer and you can program the opponent. But that's not only difficult, but sometimes not possible if you're doing a tabletop game. And it's not as good an opponent as a human opponent. And that's why role-playing games are the epitome of cooperative games. All the players are on one side and you have a GM, or sometimes people say a referee, who provides the opposition but is not trying to beat you. The GM is trying to scare the snot out of you and enable you to have fun as you do it. Well, what if you don't have the option of a human referee either? Well, then typically what people use is a deck of cards. And the cards have commands on them that determine how the non-player opposition behaves. And the more detail you can get onto those cards and the more variety, then the more interesting the game is going to be. In something like Pandemic, it's very simple and very mindless, which does fit with the idea that there's an epidemic going on. But in many games of this type, co-op games, you're going to be depicting something where the other side was human controlled, or at least intelligence controlled, and consequently you want something better than just a plain and simple deck of cards. You want a deck of cards that takes into account a lot of possibilities. Unfortunately, in the point of view of producing a game, a deck of cards costs money. So especially if you want to add a cooperative version of a game to what is otherwise a game for humans, then sometimes the solution is a dice table. Now, dice tables are not nearly as flexible as a deck of cards, but they're awfully cheap, of course, especially if the game has dice in it to begin with. So you arrange a dice table, and I usually like to use 2 to 12 rather than 1 to 6, because then you have a lot of different levels of probability, from the 7, which will happen 1/6 of the time, down to the 2, which will happen 1/36 of the time. That works best, I think, when frequently you can write a set of instructions that are generally followed by the opponent, a protocol you might call it, and then the dice table modifies the protocol. That's not possible in a lot of situations, but I have used it in some games, and it does work in the right situation. So you have humans, computers, card decks, or dice tables. And maybe there's something else I haven't thought of, but that's all I've come up with. Thanks for listening.